Welcome to Day Zero Update for October 26, 2025. I'm your host, Chris Sologi.
And I'm Brandon Perkins.
Yeah, two-man crew today, but we got plenty of
Yep.
news, a bunch of industry
Mm-hmm.
news, and some things that have been happening here, some games getting dates and such. But also, it has been 25 years to the day that the PS2 released,
Mm-hmm.
and probably the
Mm-hmm.
most important console in the industry's history, I would say.
Yep.
Um, got us to essentially where we are today. We'll talk a
Mm-hmm.
bit more about that a little bit later, but
Oh yeah.
yeah, that's been a fun time to think about that. But yeah, before we get to all the news here, we'll talk about what we've been playing, and I'll kick it off here with what I've been playing. First up, Plants vs. Zombies Replanted, the uh, remaster of the original Plants vs. Zombies game, um,
Mm-hmm.
done by uh, I believe a team called the Lost Pixels, in conjunction with
Mm-hmm.
PopCap Games, and it's on everything at this point. I
Mm.
reviewed it, gave it a 4.5 out of 5. Very good port for the PC version, at least, uh, which has some
Mm.
unique elements to it where you can play with mouse or keyboard, and mouse or
Mm.
keyboard, or no, mouse and controller. Um, Mouse works like it does in the original game. You're gonna have to click on everything. Click on the card for the plant you want to um, plant, and click on the coins and the sun orbs and such that drop. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but if you want a game that's a little bit easier, you can plug in a controller, and the cursor will essentially pull in coins and sun orbs pretty easily. You hit R1 to L1 to
Mm.
switch between the different plants in your little loadout, and you can just hit the plant kind of without really having to mess with anything there, and it kind of makes for um, a bit of an easier way to play the game. And
Mm-hmm.
it's very similar to what the XBLA and PSN versions were back in the day. Though those
Mm-hmm.
had the ability to pull the triggers to bring in all the sun on the screen, which is this real
Yep.
easy mode. There, this doesn't have that, but it does everything else pretty much that version has. It has local co-op, and local multiplayer. I don't think there's any online support for that stuff, at least at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, you got the everything that was in the original games, the campaign, the mini games, the survival stuff, the puzzle mode, um, all
Mm-hmm.
that. But you also have three new things that are added to the game once you beat the campaign, um, which
Mm-hmm.
are they have a bunch of bonus levels, they call them, which seem like mini games that
Mm.
they were working on for the original game and just cut for whatever reason. Which
Mm-hmm.
all seem to feel like, oh, this is probably why it wasn't in the game. It wasn't necessarily a particularly great idea. Um, so they kind of finished that stuff, though. None of those, when you complete them, give you like a reward like the rest of the mini games. They don't get marked off as completed like the mini games do. They're just like, oh, you can just play
Mm-hmm.
these as much as you want, kind of thing.
Mm.
They had Cloudy Day mode, which is essentially you are playing. Like it's four. They have four levels for the front yard, for the backyard, and for the roof. Um, where
Mm-hmm.
essentially it starts off in the sun. And you can plant your sunflower and all that. And then they'll say like the clouds are rolling in and it starts raining and it's cloudy, and you
Mm-hmm.
have to take the sun that you have. All the plants essentially go about half price for that amount of time, so that everything is a little bit cheaper. Um, and then from there you kind of are dealing with a means of dealing with the zombies without any sun coming in, and trying to build a
Mhm.
strategy around that idea. Um, which led to me kind of finding interesting ways. So you get the zero sun little mushroom thing that you get when you get to the
Mhm.
beginning of the night stages. Those won't
Mm.
activate. None of the night plants, the mushrooms, will activate in the when it's cloudy and rainy. Unless you
Mm.
put the coffee bean on them. But you essentially just use those because all the spawn times are rapid in the cloudy um,
Mhm.
part of the stage, and so you just sit there and plant a bunch of those, and it'll essentially keep the zombies
Mhm.
at bay for a bit. Especially have some that are a bit tougher. You can literally plant one, and by the time the zombie eats the plants, you can plant another one, and kind
Mhm.
of just essentially stun them in place while you're hopefully you got plants shooting at them. Um,
Mhm.
that's been like the strategy I've been using for the most part. But yeah, it's a neat addition, kind of keeps you on your toes, kind of thing. But yeah, what else is there? And the last mode is called Rip mode, as in Rest in Peace mode.
Mhm.
That is essentially a hardcore mode where it challenges you to play through the
Mm.
campaign with one life. You have one mower on a random row that can,
Mhm.
stop a zombie or a row of zombies that get past you. But otherwise, you need to beat every stage without losing any, letting
Mhm.
it get past you, or else you have to start over again.
Mm.
And the weird thing, there's like they put like a purple filter over the screen in this. Um, that's just kind of weird. But the weirdest thing, and probably the worst thing about it, is that in the process of this, um, if you have any plants that get eaten by the a zombie,
Mhm.
um, or what else? I forget what the other things that there are certain points where you'll just have this loud abrasive like guitar riff that shows up. It
Mhm.
starts playing louder than the music and all that, and it's like this really doesn't fit because
Mm.
the soundtrack of that game is great, and it's a very kind of chill soundtrack for the most part.
Mhm.
Um, um, that ramps up like when things are getting more hectic, but
Mhm.
otherwise, you know, it's a very nice, easy soundtrack that is just really catchy and all
Mhm.
that. Just having this really loud guitar riff playing. It also does it when you beat the stage, so if you have a good run and don't lose any plants, you won't hear this until the end of the stage, and it's like this is so incredibly annoying
Mm.
of a thing. Even when it's like a celebrating your victory kind of thing,
Ah.
it's like, boy, this doesn't work well for this mode. Um, and I don't know if they're gonna change anything for that. But yeah, um, but much like in the original game, you are basically playing through the campaign to unlock most of the plants, and then from there you're grinding out coins in every stage and trying to unlock the rest of the plants and the side stuff that's in this game.
Mhm.
Because you get plants that go in your little Zen garden, and there are you get ones that need to be in the dark or need to be in water, and they have stuff to unlock for that. And there's the Tree of Wisdom, which will give you good tips on things.
Mm.
That's where I learned a good bit of stuff. So if you're new to the franchise, that's a good way to go.
Mm.
Um, when you can, it's pretty expensive because I think it goes 100 feet with things that'll tell you. That's what the achievement and trophy is at 100 feet.
Mhm.
Um, and it costs $1,000 to give it one thing of fertilizer to go up 1 foot.
Mhm.
So that's a fair bit of money, 100,000 there. When a lot of the other things to unlock are much cheaper.
Mhm.
And I think they've adjusted some of the prices because I think getting the final upgrade for your loadout bar to get to seeds that you can take with you.
Mhm.
Um, that is cheaper because I was playing the XBLA version and the PC, the original PC version, side by side to kind of see like what changes are here and all that kind of stuff.
Mhm.
Um, and mostly it's all um, positive stuff. There's been like some small things that I noticed, and I think it got changed. I think I saw one of the updates on the Steam version mention that the twin sunflowers
Mhm.
looked weird. Um, and I'll probably post a little picture here for you to see what, because I made like a quick little like comparison
Mhm.
of what those look like and how weird it is. And I think they've adjusted it some. Um,
Mhm.
see, I think it's over here because they essentially made like the petals much longer and the face looks more football shaped versus like a sideways oval.
Mhm.
Let's see, where did I put this at? The one on the right is the original, and the one on the left is what was in this for launch. Um,
Yeah, I can
and it just kind of skeeved me out every time I saw it. It's like, why are you so different?
yeah.
Because every other plant looks pretty much the same
Mm.
as before, just higher res basically. Um, but I believe they fixed that. I just have not paid attention to the
Mhm.
twin sunflower to double check that. But that's not really like a major thing. It's I had some control issues, like where you could click on the bar with the mouse mode to pick a
Mhm.
sunflower or whatever plant you want. And in the PC version, you could just hit right click on your mouse to cancel that. But here I had to move it off of that bar,
Mhm.
which was kind of annoying. But they fixed that on the controller. I think the main thing was that when you were starting a stage, you could move freely on the bar with the R1L1
Mhm.
to have what you were going to select at the start of a stage. So if you're when you play more of the campaign after you beat it, the um, you're essentially playing like a new game plus version of it, where they pick
Mhm.
3 plants for you for that stage, and you fill out the rest with what you might need. It kind of gets you to try out different things. And you could essentially, if like the sunflower or whatever was in a different slot, you could move over before the stage started,
Mhm.
kind of thing. So that was kind of a nice little thing, but they don't do that here. And I think the cursor controls a bit differently. It's a little looser in a way that
Mm.
I would say I'm not a huge fan of, but it works fine enough. But yeah, on PC you can move between mouse and controller mode pretty easily. It just switches automatically as you plug in a controller.
Mhm.
Um, on Steam Deck, they don't allow you to use the mouse, any sort of mouse mode with the touchpad or either touchpad.
Yeah.
Um, you can just tap on the screen, but it's like this isn't a mobile version. I should be able to just control it on the touchpads because those can work just as fine in most other games. So that was kind of a little disappointing, but
Mhm.
yeah, it's like the only real knocks were the some of that side, the new additions are not super great. Like the like one of the controversies is over the concept art because the original art director for the game, I was like, seeing some of the concept arts in is like I didn't do any of this or some
Mhm.
of this, and I'm pretty sure they're from other games, other Plants vs Zombies games that the devs for whatever reason didn't label that.
Mhm.
Because you can see his initial or his signature or whatever on the art that he did, and the other stuff. Plenty of it doesn't have his signature on it, so I'm like, that's clearly not his, obviously.
Mhm.
But it would be nice to like label like where did these come from? Because otherwise you're claiming these are all for this game, and it's clearly not. There's like some for
Mhm.
like the Disco Zombie, which was not in that game originally. That was Michael Jackson style Thriller
Yeah.
Zombie that they took out once the Jackson estate figured out what was in that game.
Yeah.
Uh, and they've like fixed that in like a day, and so there's no
Mhm.
real concept art for that. They just created a new model for it and had it do mostly the same thing. It just kind of disco dances instead of thriller dances. But yeah,
Yeah.
like it's a lot of smaller stuff, but stuff that kind of adds up to a little bit of rough spots. And I guess the other issue is that the music in the original game was more dynamic in the way that it
Mhm.
would present or kind of change the stems that it was switching to depending on what was going on in the
Mhm.
stage, and that's not the case here. But the devs have said that they are going to uh, make a change on that and work on that. So hopefully they do, and listen to people's feedback on things, which they've already made some notable changes. So yeah, I think the other thing people were not happy with is that the it offers like a speed up mode where you can turn up the speed like 1.5, 2 points or 2 times speed or 2.5 times speed on it, and it would speed up the music too.
Mhm.
And people were very like weird about that in a way. I was like, I don't know, that's kind of what I would expect. Speed up the music. Um,
Mhm.
Maybe in the best case scenario, just create new, faster music
Mhm.
that would switch to. But yeah, that's kind of all there for the Plants vs Zombies remastered. But yeah, I played on PC. Really enjoyed it. Ran well and all that. It's a game that doesn't really require that much of a beefed up PC or anything.
Mhm.
It's pretty low key on the kind of PC you need for it. So yeah,
Mhm.
that's one I recommend if you are interested in another reason to replay Plants vs Zombies.
Mhm.
I picked it up on PS5 after finishing the review, and yeah, I've been enjoying that. Now I'm going to try and get the platinum, though it's a very tough platinum because they have a
Mhm.
lot of trophies for like very specific scenarios for things, and also getting far in some of the endless modes. So that stuff has always been my Achilles heel with it. Though
Mhm.
I'm sure I can find guides of people's like perfect setups for that stuff. So,
Mhm.
but yeah, the game's great and well worth checking out. Um,
Mhm.
I've also been playing Power Wash Simulator 2, which is finally out on everything.
Mhm.
PS5, Xbox, Switch 2, and PC. I'm playing it on PC. I'm like 12 stages in right now on the campaign and really enjoying
Yeah.
it so far. There are definitely some rough spots, like they present a lot of the story and the lore in the text messages you get, um, and they don't. Unlike the first game, they don't have a place to collect all that,
Mhm.
um, which is a shame.
Mhm.
Because you could kind of read all that stuff in the pause screen and all that after you started a job,
Yeah.
and even after you finish it. But they don't really have that here.
Mhm.
I'm hoping that gets added at some point. It seems like the devs are aware that people want that, so hopefully it doesn't take too long.
Mhm.
What else? There's some weird stuff like you don't see when you hover the cursor over dirt. It doesn't tell you like what it is.
Mhm.
Doesn't tell you like, oh, this is mud, this is cement, this is icing or whatever it is. It doesn't do any of that, which is a shame. I think people like to see you know what exactly happened here, like what kind of a mess has been made, kind of stuff.
Mhm.
But other than that, I think there's no binding for keys.
Yeah.
You have the classic control scheme that is what the first game had, and the modern is like their changed control scheme, which I find funny for a game that's like 3 years old
Mhm.
to call that the classic control scheme. But yeah, it's been really good so far. Very nice, fun stages to clean. So far, I've done some really interesting stuff. They don't have achievements for every single stage like it was in the original, or almost every stage.
Mhm.
Here, there's been more sporadic, like almost every other stage, and a lot of them are based on like getting, get a washer and all of its attachments. Light duty one, medium duty, heavy duty, and the whatever the power, the top class. I forget what they
Mhm.
call it. They have a bunch of those. Some for buying the cosmetics, doing all that kind of stuff. Um, so there's like a handful you can kind of get right away in the base and the for the story here. You've spent all your money from the first game to acquire this base, so you're starting from scratch. I guess sold off all your attachments and washers and all that. So you're kind of starting with a very basic selection of the two like light duty
Mhm.
washers, and they kind of play it as there were kind of two brands of washers in the first game. They kind of
Mhm.
play it off in a almost a Borderlands kind of way where there's two separate brands,
Mm.
and so there's one version of each for the different levels of washers.
Mhm.
And it's like one is more power and the other one's more I don't know, speed or whatever it is. I don't know if they have a little stat sheet to tell you like how they differ. Um,
Mhm.
it could be I might have missed it, but they do are supposed to have some slight differences.
Mhm.
But the neat thing is that they have a bunch of accessories to buy for them, and they're generally the same kind of thing. Where there's an adaptable
Mhm.
nozzle that you can, at least on PC, use the mouse wheel to
Mhm.
widen it or shrink it. Makes it a very adaptable nozzle to use instead of swapping between like the five sizes that the original has.
Mm.
Um, you get extensions and turbo nozzle, and I know by the highest tier washer, you get um, you get a double turbo nozzle on one brand, and the other brand has the triple sprayer that was in the one of the last attachments you would get in the original
Mhm.
game. So they kind of split them off that way. Um, and along with that, you get a floor scrubber. That is
Mhm.
pretty cool. Very nice for trying to clean up um, floors and such,
Yeah.
but it can also adjust itself to walls and ceilings, which is very cool. It's maybe got a little bit of control issues with it, where it can adjust automatically, and that gets a little weird when you're running over like bumpers and that kind of stuff on the ground that
Mhm.
kind of are different angles, and it just kind of gets a little awkward there. And it doesn't look like it's on the floor when I am trying to clean the floor, which is just a little bit weird. It's like a
Mhm.
aspect to it that it doesn't look like it's actually on the floor. It looks like it's hovering above it, and
Mhm.
maybe it is, but I'm playing in first person, so I can't really tell what's going on there. But yeah, I kind of wish it looked a bit closer on that way.
Mhm.
But yeah, that's kind of a lot of what's going on there. The story wise, I'm not gonna really spoil much here.
Mhm.
And there is stuff to spoil, but essentially, there's concern about the volcano again.
Yeah.
But yeah, the nice thing with this game is it takes place across the general area. That's called Caldera County.
Mhm.
Um, and sort of after the end of the last game, you are in possession of the mayor's cat, who
Mhm.
is no longer the mayor of Muckington. He calls himself the mayor of Caldera County, which I don't know what that position is that he should have, but yeah, I was like, I don't know that's a position, but okay. He started a town of the year contest between
Mhm.
the various towns in the county, I guess.
Yeah.
And so you kind of go around, and in your base you have a big map, so you can kind of see like where everything is in proportion to each other.
Mhm.
So it's really nice to kind of get that kind of sense of, okay, this stuff is happening over here, and this is over here, and all that. And yeah, I've done a good bit of the about a third of the jobs so far, and really enjoying it.
Mhm.
It has some really fun. I've been back to the carnival and did a fun little like shooting gallery with a like a water shooting gallery.
Mhm.
Um, you can see like some of the stuff you did in the first game over there, and yeah, the neat thing with the texting stuff is it doesn't happen every 20%.
Mhm.
You can do sometimes it'll show up on the 5% or the 10% kind of thing, the off percents.
Yeah.
But you don't just get story every 20%
Mhm.
here. So it's kind of a different cadence, and they put all that stuff in the bottom left corner instead of like the top, like the middle right side of the screen,
Mhm.
like under all the UI.
Yeah.
That's a little bit weird and kind of out of the way enough that I sometimes have to remember, like, oh yeah, that's I should go read that. And so
Mhm.
since is no like repository of the text message you've been getting, I take a lot more
Mhm.
screenshots of that stuff, so I have record of it, which is fun. They got some
Mhm.
good stuff there. There's like one that's like, oh, here's and they're talking about the town of the year thing, and it's like, oh yeah, this is what Muckington's history is, which is like started as like a shack for cleaning up shit. I think it was described as, and it's like, all
Mhm.
right, and it's kind of a group chat part of this. So you have like chat with the person that's running the job, but there's also like a group chat of other people, and so you kind of get responses out of them. It's like, oh, this seems like a bunch of people that know each other and know to talk shit to each other and all that. There's like
Mhm.
a good vibe to it. Um, but yeah, Power Simulator 2, really enjoying this. There's a 15% discount if you bought it on PlayStation, the first game on PlayStation, Xbox, or PC.
Mhm.
They're doing a loyalty discount for that. Make it, I think, 21.49 instead of $25.
Yeah.
So I may buy it on PS5 as well sometime here in the near future,
Mhm.
since this is going to be the only discount for a bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, it seems like on the console versions it doesn't have gyro support like the first game, so it seems
Mhm.
like there are things that they're going to add. They post their roadmap for this. They have 3 DLCs planned for next year and 3 free content packs for next year. And they've said for this year it's going to be bug fixes and feature updates and all that kind of stuff. Kind of mostly adding things that people want and or taking feedback to fix things and all that. So
Mhm.
hopefully they are definitely listening to people. They have on the Discord like a bug channel to post that stuff.
Mhm.
Things are noticing. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that. But yeah, that's a very good game. Forward to playing
Mhm.
some more of that. And the last one I've been playing is Ball Pit. Been playing some more of that and kind of getting a sense of the main progression of that game, which involves a lot of unlocking characters, as you would expect to like do more runs in the different stages as you
Mhm.
get them, and as you get successful runs, you get a gear, and you need 2 of those gears to unlock the next stage.
Mhm.
And so I've got the second stage unlocked. I've beaten that with one character, and I'm at the
Mhm.
point where they're also encouraging you to switch up characters by giving you like a 25% gold bonus for using a character for your certain character for your next run.
Yeah.
So they're kind of trying to keep you switching around as needed.
Mhm.
And yeah, I've been putting more stuff in my home base thing where they have you go to harvest for different materials, which that's how you also have to unlock characters. You get buildings to put there, and it has to be hit by um, your characters a certain amount of times to unlock it, or to unlock it so it can be uh, use the character, or there's other ones that are for stat bonuses and such. So, um, yeah, a lot of good stuff going on here. Unlocking more elemental balls and all the other abilities and all that. That's stuff that they're slowly adding in as I go. So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, been enjoying that a lot. If you like your Arcanoids and your Vampire Survivors and that kind of stuff, it's got vibes of all that kind of stuff. So,
Mm-hmm.
well worth at least checking out for a demo or whatever. So,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, that's pretty much what I've been playing. So, how about you, Brandon?
Well, yeah. As for me, I like I said for last weekend, I can finally talk about the game I've been playing for the last week or so. Because I'd been under embargo, but it's called Bounty Star, and essentially what this is it's a hybrid of a mech fighting game with a farming simulation added to it. The game is essentially about this woman named Clem, who was originally part of this town's militia. She ends up making a really bad mistake that costs a lot of lives, and so she flees into the frontier to try to sort of forget all of that and basically escape all the memories. Now, the thing is, this game takes place in a post apocalyptic part of the American Southwest, and by that I mean it's there was like a nuclear war that happened many years ago. But that has been long past. People have come out of the shelters, and they have more or less fully rebuilt civilization into something kind of resembling the modern day, but not entirely. It's like a lot of it is still bombed out, but enough of it is clean enough that people can essentially lead fairly fairly regular lives without the need of anything extreme, anything too extreme. Um, but one of the things they found out when they came out of those shelters was all of these giant mech suits that all the soldiers were using, and so they just sort of reappropriated them, and they started using them for security and for like mining and all this other stuff. And essentially is when you're playing as Clem, the game can basically be chopped up into two specific parts. There's the fighting part and there's the farming part. Basically, Clem makes her living as a bounty hunter, and you're essentially taking on bounties to go out and get money so that you can upgrade your farm and all that stuff. But um, all of these bounties, they're like, it's not terribly complicated stuff. It's like you got to go out and capture or kill some marauders, or on occasion there's like animal control where you have to deal with like giant bugs or giant mutated lizards, that kind of thing. um, and like your actual mech that you're using, and they're called raptors in game for whatever reason. They they have like your standard sort of two different kinds of weapons. You got your melee weapon, which is like a blade or a hammer, punching weapons, that kind of thing. And you'll also have your ranged weapon, and that's a pistol, shotgun. You know how it goes. But there's also a bunch of other stuff that goes on there that can do everything from like having a way to recharge your all of your hit points when you need it, kind of similar to like a Souls like, to stuff that deals with like the temperature of the raptor. Because the thing about the raptors is that, again, the game takes place in the American Southwest, which means that, during the day it's hotter than all hell, and during night it could be freezing cold. And if the mech gets too hot or too cold, it will temporarily shut down and go through a rebooting sequence before it can operate again. Um, that in and of itself isn't too big of an issue because it only lasts like a couple seconds, but it's a couple seconds that can really cost you if you're in the middle of a fight. But that's like primarily the fighting part of it. The other part of it is the farming part. And basically, Clem lives in this like old garage that as the game goes on, she slowly sort of upgrades and turns it into like a place where, she's got like crafting tables where she can like not only like craft new equipment, but also like mill ammo and stuff. So she doesn't have to like take money out of her pay in order to pay for new ammo. Um, and eventually you can get stuff for like kitchen implements, skillet, an oven, blah blah blah, so that you can eat stuff to get like temporary upgrades before you go off into the field. But another major part of this is eventually you sort of turn it into a farm, where you can plant crops, make sure they're regularly watered, and eventually you can like get a couple of coops to raise some chickens. Which, if you get once you get the chickens, like that becomes a real money gold mine because they produce a lot of eggs very quickly as long as you keep them fed and watered. And you can like all of your excess like crops and stuff, you can sell that on the market for additional cash. Um, but the game itself has a very addictive game cycle, which I very much like. And I'm actually in the middle of writing my review for SmashPad, and honestly, as much as I really want to like this game because there's a lot of stuff that I like, the execution of it is just not good. The character models look like something out of like the PS3 era, and I don't mean that in like a good, charming way. I mean it looks very, very low poly and awkward looking. The voice acting isn't very good. It's very one note and um, very rarely has any real emotion in it. Um, the graphics overall are pretty good, but there's a lot of like reusing of environments, because and I mean, part of that is because, there are different parts of the world where, you'll be doing multiple jobs for, but it gets obvious at a point where, yeah, they're just trying to get as much mileage out of these various levels as they can. Um, there's also like some weird graphical hiccups. There's also like some weird control stuff involving, like when you're trying to like, so like I said, you can raise chickens. One of the things you got to do when you're raising your chickens is making sure that they're happy, because happy chickens make happy products. And you do that by basically making sure you pet them every day, when you're out doing your chores before doing the bounties. And because of the fact that those chickens, they have a tendency to like, roost up at the top of the coop or whatever, it can be very hard to try and get in contact with them. And this is especially a serious issue because there's also this issue where, when you're trying to like manage these various coops, that's also like the same area where you're like harvesting, so you're like getting the eggs and stuff, and like the location for where you're able to actually do this stuff is really, really finicky. um but yeah, it's there's a lot of stuff about this game that I wanted to like, but there's a lot of stuff that just holds it back a great deal. I'll get more in detail in my review, which I'm hoping to finish up the writing portion tonight, and it should be on the site by the end of this week. But the other game I've been playing is Silent Hill 2, the remake. And God, like I said, they knocked it out of the park out of the very beginning. Like I played the original Silent Hill 2 way back in the day. And I also played the remaster that came out a few years ago where they like redid like a bunch of they redid the controls so it isn't quite as cumbersome as the original was. But they basically took that game and made it into something. They remade it into something just absolutely incredible. It looks gorgeous. It absolutely captures that atmosphere of like being out in the middle of nowhere in a place that isn't familiar, and only having like a paper map to guide you. The sort of like weird, sort of dreamlike sensation of walking around Silent Hill itself, which is this, as a town, has always like changed forms whenever it gets involved in the game. And the weirdness of like walking around the town. And because remember, unlike in a lot of games, in the Silent Hill games, the maps don't really like signal anything other than what a map typically tells you. Like, it doesn't tell you like really where you're supposed to go. It doesn't tell you like what place you can walk to or whatever. You have to like discover all of that stuff as you go on. And there's this weird sensation that happens when you're walking to like your first blocked path, and instead of it like being blocked off with like it's like a roadblock or like police tape or anything like that, it's like a bunch of wires where a bunch of like white painting sheets are hanging off from, or like coming across an area where there's just like a giant sinkhole right in the middle of the road. Stuff like that is like it really simulates that feeling of unreality that like being in a dream really does. God, I can't really sing the praise of that game enough, really. But yeah, that's what I've been playing.
All right, so yeah, let's get to some news.
Mm-hmm.
First up, there's another update for No Man's Sky
Mm-hmm.
called Breach for their newest expedition, their
Mm-hmm.
20th expedition. So this one adds a bunch of stuff for that particular expedition, but also just what you get out of it. And
Mm-hmm.
because it's also coming out around Halloween, it is spooky themed.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, for this expedition, you're traversing a desolate and abandoned universe, and on their travels, encounter the abandoned remains
Mm-hmm.
of ill-fated Corvette ships, all ripe for
Mm-hmm.
scavenging ship modules. Add your Corvette building arsenal.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, as part of this, you now have the ability to, uh, find wrecked Corvettes that can be encountered and salvaged. Almost a
Mm-hmm.
bit like, oh, what was the game where you were, let me see, where you're taking apart ships, Hard Space
Oh, Hard
Shipbreaker.
Space Shipbreaker. Yeah.
Yeah, it's got a little bit of that to it,
Mm-hmm.
but also you are able to freely go out into space in your
Mm-hmm.
spacesuit and
Yep.
do this stuff. So that is a pretty cool thing to see here. And yeah, they've also added a bunch of other stuff, so it's better. Looks like better color stuff for
Mm-hmm.
applying to your ship. So you have sort of some stuff to apply to the entire thing, and not necessarily have to do it one by one.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, they show off the rewards for this, and yeah, some more cool stuff. So yeah, definitely worth checking out.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I do like that they're posting some community made ships here.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's one that's specifically a Star Wars style ship for that. But yeah, there's some cool stuff. They also um, show the announcement trailer for Light No Fire. Remind people that's still
Mm-hmm.
something they're working on. So that's cool.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, glad that game's still going.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Uh, yeah, I am glad that game is still going. I'm glad that that company completely redeemed themselves.
Yeah. So yeah, there's that. And the other thing that keeps going is Kirby Air Riders Directs. They had a second
Mm-hmm.
one that was 60 minutes. Somehow had more of it.
Mm-hmm.
Sakurai joked at the beginning. I was like, wait, this is how long?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, they talked about essentially, I think what's the rest of what's in that game.
Mm-hmm.
They went over some of the stuff they're bringing in from the first game,
Mm-hmm.
Top Ride, which was sort of a top down racing mode.
Yeah.
Um, that's coming into this game as a bit of a bigger thing. Um,
Mm-hmm.
you can also play it online with up to 8 players, or offline with yeah, 3 other players on a
Mm-hmm.
single system. Um, and yeah, it has all the stuff there, but also uses the new stuff they've added to the game, the new mechanics. So there's
Mm-hmm.
that. They have a new mode called Road Trip, which features challenges from the regular air ride mode, city trial, and top ride modes,
Mm-hmm.
including races, battles, and field events. So a bunch of stuff there. It has a little bit of story to it, it seems.
Mm-hmm.
They unveiled their lobby system for the multiplayer, which is called Paddock.
Mm-hmm.
It has like little uh, space to explore with your character and while you're waiting for friends or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
It has a new type of race called Swap Relay. Select a machine for each individual lap and automatically swap machines as you complete laps. You're kind
Mm-hmm.
of building a loadout here for how you want your race to go for that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And show us some more things. There's a thing they call the checklist from Kirby Air Ride is back. So as you complete certain objectives, a checklist box gets flipped over. Or
Mm-hmm.
each, the more unlockable content you can access. So there's 5 checklist tabs, I think, for the different bits of content in the game.
Mm.
Click on an open box, which is next to open box, will take you right to that objective, all set up and ready to play. So yeah, they also announced there's 3 more amiibos coming
Mm-hmm.
out. They'll have the 2 available at launch that they already announced. They have Meta Knight and his Shadow Star on March 5th. King
Mm-hmm.
DDD and the Tank Star sometime later next year, and Chef Kawasaki and the Hop Star also sometime later next year.
Mm-hmm.
All $50, but they're also very large. I forget which one of those, like the Meta Knight one, might be like bigger than all the others.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What else here? They announced all the courses from the first game are being added to this, so that'll be 18 total.
Mm-hmm.
So there's that. Yeah, and they showed off like you have a player card that is essentially a license that keeps
Mm-hmm.
track of your stats and all that. You can add uh, little customization things to it, stickers and glitter effects and all that
Right.
for that. So yeah, there's a bunch more stuff here if you want to read it. Um, yeah, they have more music. There's gummies to collect,
Mm-hmm.
which are like gummy versions of the machines in the game
Yeah.
that you get. You can kind of look at them, but also just like throw them on the ground in there and kind of smack them around or whatever. The little
Mm-hmm.
physicsy thing. But the other notable thing here, they're gonna have a global test ride event on let's see, November 8th and 9th
Mm.
at specific times. Luckily, these are 6-hour time frames, so they have like November 8th at 12 a.m. to 6 a.m. Pacific time, 4 p.m. to 10 p.m. Pacific time, and on the 9th, 7 a.m. to 1 p.m. Pacific time. So,
Mm-hmm.
and they're doing same times on the 15th and the 16th. So ahead of launch, you'll be able to try out the game and see if you really want it. So
Mm-hmm.
that's cool to see. And yeah, that game's
Yeah.
out on the 20th of November, so not too
Mm-hmm.
far away. But yeah, it looks like it's gonna be a racing game with a lot of content in it
Mm-hmm.
for people. So that'll be interesting to see how that goes. So
All
yeah,
right.
there you go.
Yeah. Uh. Yeah.
Yeah, Kirby kind of coming in with kind of feeling for more content than Mario Kart World seemed to have.
Yeah. Which is just wow.
Yeah, that is Sakurai's thing, is just put an absurd amount of content in it that it maybe
Mm-hmm.
doesn't need, but they're doing that.
I mean, that's the charm of his game design, finding ways to, take games that otherwise would be fairly simple and just jamming them with as many ways to play as you possibly can.
Yeah. So yeah, that's the thing you'll be able to check out in a few weeks.
Mm-hmm.
But much sooner than that, we know that the newest GameCube game being added to Nintendo Switch Online Plus expansion pack is Luigi's Mansion. It'll be
Mm-hmm.
available on October 30th. just in time for Halloween. I
Yep.
was kind of expecting it would be out sometime here before Halloween.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Uh, yeah,
Good choice, because that game is very good. Like it was honestly, it was the first time that like Luigi actually legitimately had like the starring role, and it actually works, and like it actually probably the first game, outside of like Super Mario Brothers 2, where he like actually has like a defining character instead of just being a palette swap of Mario.
yeah,
Uh, with like his own abilities and stuff too. And like his
yeah.
own like like we now associate Luigi with that vacuum cleaner. Like that's his thing.
And being a
He's
coward.
yeah, being a scaredy cat.
So yeah, I would say probably the second best game in that franchise. I think three is better than that.
Yeah.
Um, but it's better than the second game.
Yeah.
Even with that HD remaster, I was like, yeah,
Mhm.
this is all really small uh, houses to go to, and that's
Mhm.
not as fun as having one big place to explore.
Mhm.
But yeah, that's good to see. That'll be here in a few days on the 30th.
Mhm.
Let's see. Also coming out soon is Fallout 4 Anniversary Edition,
Mhm.
as they had their Fallout Day announcements. There wasn't really much else getting shown off here.
Mhm.
They talked a little bit about the Fallout 76 updates. They're going to have the ghoul from the show
Mhm.
show up in the next big area they're adding, which is in Southwest Ohio.
Mhm.
Post nuclear Fallout.
Yeah.
It was a big desert area.
Mhm.
The ghoul will give you bounties to go after
Yep.
for all that, so that seems neat.
Yeah.
But this one is Fallout 4 Anniversary Edition. It's not really too complicated. It includes all the DLC and over 150 pieces of Creation Club content.
Yep.
So probably most everything that's on that storefront.
Mhm.
And this will be the version that shows up on the Switch 2 sometime next year.
Mhm.
But for um, PlayStation, Xbox, and PC, it'll be on November 11th
Yeah.
for that. So they got a fancy new box art for it
Mhm.
and all that. I don't know if this is going to have a physical version. They might have like a special edition version with some extra stuff.
Mhm.
They did announce that for Fallout New Vegas,
Mhm.
but that's only the PC version
Yeah.
with some extra stuff, and they're not, at least at the moment, doing a remake or anything for that or Fallout 3 like
Yeah.
people were expecting. So
Which I don't blame them, because to be completely honest, compared to Fallout 4, Fallout 3 isn't that good. Like I loved it when it first came out because it was a full on 3D Fallout game. But when you compare it to like what they did, what Obsidian did with Fallout New Vegas, it just doesn't measure up.
yeah,
Um, Fallout 4, on the other hand, was actually really good.
yeah,
And I really still like that one.
yeah. There's like a contingent in the fan base that's like thinks it was disappointing compared to Fallout 3.
And they're wrong.
Yeah, I think it's also like the building stuff was kind of a turnoff for a lot of people.
Hey, it wasn't something you had to give a shit about. It was just side content.
Yeah, but they still make sure to mention like, oh, there's an attack over here. That first one you set up
Yeah.
um in the neighborhood, but yeah. So I was like, yeah, I'm collecting a lot of shit for no real reason.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's kind of the gist of what was announced for Fallout Day.
Mm-hmm.
I think the other thing is they hinted at a PS5 and Xbox Series X and S version of Fallout 76.
Mm-hmm.
That'll be out sometime next year, I think, which
Yeah.
it needs because boy, is it really annoying having to delete it and download the entire game when there's an update.
Mm-hmm.
because it requires such a huge amount of free space on Xbox and PlayStation to
Yeah.
download it. I'm just like, fuck this, delete it. I don't have the room for it, and download it again.
Mm-hmm.
And then that's like 100 plus gigs.
Yeah.
It's absurdly huge.
Mm-hmm.
So I would assume PS5 and Xbox Series X and S versions will updates in a more reasonable manner
Mm.
than what we have to do right now. But yeah, there you go for that. We did get a date for Marvel Cosmic Invasion,
Mm-hmm.
and that is December 1st. So that first week of December is starting to fill up really quickly.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's Metro Prime 4, Beyond, Octopath Traveler Zero is also on the 4th.
Yeah.
Let It Die Inferno and Blood Refreshed Supply. And I think there's a
Mm-hmm.
couple other games that have been announced for early December. So yeah,
Yeah.
this is one of them. They also announced that yeah, there are two more characters I think they announced.
Mm-hmm.
Phoenix and Invincible Iron Man.
Right.
So yeah, that adds to your lineup there, which has, let's see, Captain America, Wolverine, Spider Man, Storm, Lavelle, Venom,
Mm-hmm.
Nova, She Hulk, Rocket
Yep.
Raccoon, Silver Surfer, Beta Ray Bill, Black Panther, and Cosmic
Mm.
Ghost Rider,
Yep.
along with Phoenix and Invincible Iron Man. Iron Man. So
Mm-hmm.
that's a lot of characters.
I love that they're mixing it up both with like, characters a lot of people know with some somewhat more like B-list, more obscure characters, like Beta Ray Bill, for example. I honestly that just shows that they, are not just coming at this as like a quick cash grab.
Yeah, quite a bit for people with different preferences.
Mm-hmm.
I imagine they all have different styles to them. That'll
Mm.
be neat to see.
Yeah.
But yeah, not too far away for that. It's about a
Mm-hmm.
month to change.
Yeah.
So there's that. Let's see. Yeah, on the 2nd of December, Assassin's Creed Shadows will be coming to the Switch too.
Mm-hmm.
So people can fill up their hard drive with one game again
Mm.
with this game because it is a very large game.
Yes.
So yeah, that's going to be happening here. Yeah, the paid expansion they announced, Claws of Awaji, will be coming out next year.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see, this will also have touchscreen features and all the menus. Yeah, it has cross progression. So you can, if you want to pay more for this game, you can buy the Switch 2 version and continue from there.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Yeah, that's kind of it. They have a new update coming out soon with some more stuff in it. But yeah,
Mm.
you've been waiting for Assassin's Creed on a Switch, Nintendo platform for the first time in a while.
Yeah.
I want to say, well, they did, I think, a port of, I think, three.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but they also did a port of three for the Wii U's launch, and
Mm-hmm.
that was not a great game for it.
Yeah.
But yeah, there you go for that. Let's see. Yeah, this one here for you, Brandon. Mouse PI for Hire got delayed
Yep.
from coming
I
out
know.
this year, but they announced the new dates of
In
March
March.
19th.
Yep.
So you have to wait for next spring.
Yes, they'll gotta wait till next year.
Yeah.
Which, to be completely honest, I kind of expected that was going to happen. Uh, Largely due to the fact that the game had gone radio silent for a little while.
Yeah.
Uh, so yeah.
Yeah. So yeah. I think they announced that it was getting delayed earlier this week and then announced an actual dates. The Galaxy's Gaming Showcase.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So yeah. But yeah, that game still looks cool. So there you go for that.
Mm-hmm.
And speaking of delays, Elden Ring on the Switch 2 is no longer coming out this year.
Mm-hmm.
They said it's coming next year.
Mm-hmm.
and mostly because they still have work to do to get it uh, in a good performance state on this Switch 2,
Mm-hmm.
which is not too big of a surprise considering it didn't run well on PlayStation or Xbox or PC,
Mm-hmm.
really.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of those games that people loved in spite of how it performed on the systems. So much so, people preferred playing the PS4 version on PS5 instead of the PS5 version
Mm-hmm.
because it ran better that way.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I'm not surprised that they're having a little bit of extra work to do for the Switch 2 version.
Yeah.
But yeah, that'll be uh, something to look forward to for next year
Mm-hmm.
if you want that on a Switch too.
Mm-hmm.
So there is that. Let's see, we got the biggest updates of all,
Mm-hmm.
the biggest news of all for this week, which is that Microsoft announced Halo Campaign Evolved,
Mm-hmm.
the newest Halo game, or their full remake of the original game,
Mm-hmm.
and kind of weirdly enough, as the title suggests, it is only the campaign,
Mm-hmm.
which they are remaking it in Unreal Engine 5.
Right.
And so, along with that, the look of the game has changed a great deal from the original game. So much so,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of people think it looks worse because artistically, it's not. It's just trying to be as realistic as possible, and like a lot of the buildings just seem to be like they are brand new and super shiny, even though I believe it's supposed to the the way that game looked is that that stuff all looked like it had been abandoned for years,
Mm-hmm.
and so everything looking like brand new and all that seems to not exactly be the way it really should be fair to the
Mm-hmm.
story. But yeah, they're also making changes to missions, like they call out the library,
Mm-hmm.
that they're reworking that stage to make it better, which they did the last time they worked on remake of sorts on the XPLA or the Xbox 360 version
Mm-hmm.
that they did for that. I believe this is also coming with three prequel missions,
Mm-hmm.
as they call them, with I think the chief and Sergeant Johnson doing some stuff before the game starts. So
Mm-hmm.
that'll be interesting to see. I believe this also has um, what is it? It's going to have sprint. It's going to have some new weapons
Mm-hmm.
that have been added to this game, and probably some other stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 9 additional weapons. Yeah, the energy sword, the battle rifle, and the needle rifle
Mm-hmm.
are being added to this. And yeah, you can now hijack vehicles, even pilot the Covenant Wraith tank.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they also have their most skulls for more challenge ways of modifying the campaign difficulty.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, an interesting package. But yeah, this will be on Xbox, PC, and PS5. So Halo's finally coming to PlayStation, and of course, it's going to be in the way that potentially stretches out your ability on PlayStation to play the whole thing if you like it.
Mm-hmm.
Because much like Gears, they're only putting the first game on PS5. So if you really like this, you'll have to go
Mm-hmm.
buy an Xbox to play the rest of the games.
Yeah.
Because even PC doesn't have all of them.
Nope.
Because I
No,
think
they
it's
do
Halo
not.
5 is the one that's not on PC.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, gonna have to deal with that. But yeah, being campaign only is an interesting choice considering the multiplayer was incredibly popular for that original game.
Mm-hmm.
This does have co-op play, two-player local split screen or four players online co-op, um, and cross-play between Xbox, PC, and PlayStation 5. So yeah, makes for an interesting thing, but it's also it feels like a weird way to introduce the franchise to PlayStation players,
Mm-hmm.
just with one game. And it's a good game, but also I think the trilogy would have been the thing to do.
Mm-hmm.
Especially if you could, I don't know, maybe do a better version of the Master Chief Collection,
Right.
one that isn't broken at launch.
Yeah.
But yeah, seems all right for what it is. But yeah, it's I don't think Halo has the juice anymore, but we'll see
Mm,
if remaking the original game's campaign is the thing that gets people more interested in it.
mm-hmm.
Because even what they did with Infinite did not really do all that much for people,
Yeah.
uh, especially with the multiplayer issues that I had
Mm.
at launch. So yeah, there you go.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, that series has been through the I don't know what it's been through, but it's had issues.
Yeah, it's kind of I don't know. 343 was not great at creating sequels like Bungie was.
Mm-hmm.
And even Bungie's games had some issues, but people were excited every time they had a new game coming out. And from Halo 4 onward, it was just like
Mm-hmm.
more of the same, I guess. It never really seemed to evolve until they did things that people didn't really care for.
Mm-hmm.
They're trying to do the split narrative, and I think it was Halo 5.
Yeah.
And Infinite, you have the open world that's kind of lifeless
Mm-hmm.
to it. And yeah, there's a lot of stuff that did not really get people excited for it
Yeah.
compared to the ways that like Call of Duty evolved and Doom and some of these other games kind of made even more, old school style experiences exciting.
Mm.
And
Yep.
Halo's just kind of like, we still don't have sprint. That's us. It's like, all right,
Yep.
sure.
Yep.
But yeah, there you go for that. Let's see. We got Pokemon Legends ZA has sold nearly 6 million copies in its first week.
Mm-hmm.
I believe specifically 5.8 million copies.
Yep.
Around half of those were the Switch 2 version specifically. So
Mm-hmm.
selling a lot of copies still. And it seems like people are liking this new game too.
Yeah. Even though like it still has like it doesn't have as many of the issues that the last mainline Pokemon game had. It still has a few.
Yeah,
Um, but people were more than willing to overlook them because it's more
yeah,
Pokemon. So,
yeah. It's got some new stuff it's doing too. So it's always nice for them.
mm-hmm.
But yeah, there's your Pokemon news of the week.
Mm-hmm.
We do have some EA news. They apparently partnered with Stability AI
Mm-hmm.
for integrating AI into their dev process, I guess.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, as I say, to co-develop AI models, tools, and workflows. The
Mm-hmm.
claims will empower its development teams to reimagine how content is built,
Mm.
which I don't know what the hell that means, but yeah, they say, let's see, with humans at the center of storytelling, we're evolving how we work so that AI becomes a trusted ally,
Mm-hmm.
supporting faster iteration, expanding creative possibilities, accelerating workflows, and allowing more time to focus on what matters most, building
Mm-hmm.
world-class games and experiences that entertain massive online communities, which I don't know what the hell that means.
Mm-hmm. Me neither.
Uh, 'Cause it seems like the way they get games out is by having a bunch of people work on them,
Mm-hmm.
like with the case with Battlefield 6, where they had several studios working together on that thing.
Yeah.
And even then, it's like the multiplayer is great, but the campaign is terrible.
Mm.
So yeah, I don't know. Seems like they're gonna work on more AI integration into their systems. I don't know if that's
Ugh.
gonna help much.
I want the AI bubble to burst. Just, I know it's going to happen. I just want it to hurry up
Yeah,
because I'm sick of this crap.
yeah. So I don't know. This this is something that you would expect as they're about to be acquired by the Saudis
Mm-hmm.
and all of that. So yeah, not really much else to add here. It's just like, that's not great.
Yeah.
There you go.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of EA news, it seems like an artist for the former lead environment artist for the Black Panther game that EA was working on
Mm-hmm.
has had their art lifted for Marvel Rivals
Yep.
for a Black Panther map.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and yeah, there's like notable elements of their work that was lifted as they had some of these like African inspired map designs they
Mm-hmm.
had, particularly these like keyhole. I forget what they call it here. Keyhole
Mm-hmm.
extrusions in the walls that has like a statue in it.
Yeah.
Which the map changes the statues to like Black Panther statues.
Yeah.
But the things they're sitting on have very similar, if not exactly the same kind of design, with this like these golden triangles pointing towards the middle of the base,
Mm.
and a bunch of specific designs there that also seem to be the case with the Marvel Rivals version.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, boy, that seems pretty specific there.
Yep.
Um, and especially when the artist here, Jairus Ningana,
Mm-hmm.
talked about how apparently they were contacted by somebody from um, the Marvel Rivals team, somebody
Yeah.
that went by the name Milu,
Mm-hmm.
who sent them a message on um, I don't know where they sent the message. They messaged them maybe on Twitter last December,
Mm-hmm.
saying that they were the art developer of Marvel Rivals, saying, "I like your design very much. We also absorbed the inspiration of your work in the
Mm-hmm.
design of the Wakanda map.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I say they'd like to invite them to participate in the art design or to work with us remotely to produce the artwork of Marvel Rivals."
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, by um, last week or this past week,
Mm-hmm.
uh, yeah, the writer here for game developer reviewed the that specific developer's X account and what
Mm-hmm.
appeared to be an affiliated ArtStation profile, which contained concept art for Marvel Rivals and a link back to ArtStation. The link was not functional at the time,
Mm-hmm.
but they did identify an ArtStation profile for one Milu,
Mm-hmm.
with some of the same art pieces seen on the X accounts, and it seemed like by the point they started talking about this issue that they noticed, uh, X account had been wiped clean, and
Mm.
the ArtStation page also reduced to one image, a 3D rendering of a Bitcoin. So yeah, not a great look when all that stuff gets wiped
Mm.
after an accusation is made like this.
Yeah.
But there were some shots of the work they had here, to confirm like the two
Mm-hmm.
accounts are likely from the same person and all that. And yeah, it doesn't look great for NetEase to
Mm-hmm.
be essentially lifting art, um, from at this
Mm-hmm.
point an unemployed artist. I think,
Mm-hmm.
instead of contracting them to work with them,
Mm-hmm.
especially if it went through the point of like sending a DM on Twitter
Mm.
from a person that worked on that team. They'd be like, this should have been a more formal thing here
Mm.
instead of this like shitty ass DM situation. So yeah,
Mm.
just not a good look here for Marvel Rivals.
Not at all. Just yeah, just I mean, we see shit like this happen a lot in this industry, and unfortunately, because of the way the nature of the industry is right now, it's become not only more frequent, but it's become easier to do because the tech is at a point now where you can pretty much with a little bit of work you can just straight up lift something and nobody would be the wiser unless you're actively out there looking for it.
Yeah, it's just a shame because it's like this person they mentioned here. I tried to enable many conversations, but they were all ignored.
Mm-hmm.
You needed people who knew African culture to help you with Wakanda. You used my knowledge and just started ignoring
Mm-hmm.
me when I started to ask for credits.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, yeah, you could have hired this person to help you out with this. Got some great work out of them, it seems.
Mm-hmm.
But instead, you stole it and made it for and paid them nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, that's just not right, especially for a big company like NetEase.
Mm-hmm.
I could easily pay for this, pay for them to help them out.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, there's some shitty news there.
Yeah.
We got a few more shitty news stories. Ubisoft seems to be in the process of laying off people,
Mm-hmm.
as they have offered buyouts for devs at Massive, the makers of the Division 2, Avatar: Frontiers of Pandora, and Star Wars Outlaws.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Basically offering uh, a chance to get bought out and take some money and whatnot to no longer work there
Mm-hmm.
and look for a job somewhere else for that. So that's a shame. As a
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, based on what they were working on, all that stuff has been out for quite a while. So
Mm-hmm.
it's not too surprising they would try to slim things down. And I guess instead of laying people off randomly, they're just offering a chance to take some cash and some benefits to
Mm-hmm.
uh, get the hell out and go find a better company to work for.
Mm-hmm.
I guess. So yeah, there you go for that. The other one is that they are looking to cut up to 60 jobs at Red Links, the Trials people, who
Mm-hmm.
also worked on the Star Wars Outlaws port to the Switch 2. Um,
Yep.
so yeah, it seems like part of this also is that the studio itself is being uh, reduced to a good bit so that they are likely to be focused on mobile games from here on out,
Mm-hmm.
which is a shame because they are the Trials developers and seems to suggest that they are done working on Trials games, at least the big console PC games they have been
Mm-hmm.
working on in that franchise,
Yeah.
which would be a shame because those games were all generally good.
Mm-hmm.
But those probably don't fit into what Ubisoft wants or needs at this point.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's a shame as well. So Ubisoft is in the process of trying to lay off a good amount of people.
Mm-hmm.
Looks like we got some other layoff news. Outer Loop
Yeah.
Games is laying off 6 people from their staff. They're small devs, so this is probably a good amount of people here.
Mm-hmm.
They're the devs of Thirsty Suitors and the upcoming Dosa Divas. Um, yeah, they say here, we're saying goodbye to 6 wonderful folks on our team this week at Outer Loop Games. They've
Mm-hmm.
been part of the team for years, and unfortunately, we got hit with some unexpected U.S. tax changes, a port
Mm-hmm.
cancellation, and new project pitches that are going slow. It's a rough year.
Mm-hmm.
They're finishing development on Dosa Divas, which is being published by Outer Sloth.
Mm-hmm.
Are pitching 2 smaller projects. Um, and provided a public spreadsheet with information from the affected employees in the hopes that other developers can reach out to provide work. I assume it's like contact info and such on what they worked on. So yeah, links to their LinkedIn pages, portfolio pages, um, what they're available for,
Mm-hmm.
and all that. So yeah, of those people get some good work. But yeah, things right now not great for independent developers,
Mm-hmm.
and especially those that are not getting huge successes that help keep the studio afloat for their next game. If you're
Mm-hmm.
sort of needing publishing and funding for each game you're working on, that's tougher and tougher each time you go back out for a new game.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, luckily they do have that for Dosa Divas, but
Mm-hmm.
uh, they need to also be looking into what the next project is after that.
Yeah.
and kind of having stuff lined up, or else you end up having to lay people off like this.
Yeah. Yeah, you do. Um, which sucks because I really liked Thirsty Suitors,
Yeah,
and I haven't played Dos Divas yet, but I've heard good things. So.
yeah. I'm looking forward to Dos Divas. But yeah, there's that. And then we got this last story here. Remedy's CEO, Caro Vertala, has stepped
Mm-hmm.
down
Yeah.
immediately. Who's been leading the studio since August 2016.
Mm-hmm.
Has mutually agreed to vacate the position after discussions with Remedy's board of directors.
Mm-hmm.
Which seems like it's likely in response to the way that FBC Firebreak has not really done much, um, which is a shame because
Mm-hmm.
it's a good game, but it's just not necessarily something that seems like it has gotten much attention from their potential audience. And as the sort of studio that Remedy is, multiplayer games are not necessarily uh, their wheelhouse. So I'm not too surprised that it hasn't necessarily done
Mm-hmm.
great. But yeah, this maybe what they need for their next set of games that they're working on,
Mm-hmm.
and kind of have some new voices in the room.
Yeah.
Though the person replacing them for now, the interim CEO, is going to be Marcus Maki, who's the
Mm-hmm.
co-founder of Remedy.
Yeah.
Bertolo will remain at the service of the company while the search for a permanent successor takes place.
Mm-hmm.
But Maki is sort of taking over as interim CEO. He was chairman of the board of directors, has been replaced by veteran board member Henry Osterland. He will continue to serve as an ordinary member of the board. But yeah, we're going to have some new leadership here at
Mm-hmm.
some point, but have shuffled some positions around for the time being. So yeah.
Mm.
They're still working on FBC Firebreak, but yeah, they're kind of
Yeah.
also putting more work into, I think, Control 2 and the remakes of Max Payne 1 and 2.
Yeah, because for whatever reason, FBC just it isn't latching on. It's a game that's still in search of an audience.
Yeah. But yeah, they do say they still have some more updates in the works.
Mm-hmm.
One for late November that adds an endless shift roguelike mode to the game,
Mm-hmm.
which could be cool.
Yeah.
Uh, I imagine at this point it's probably a better player base to play with because I remember playing that at launch and being like, it doesn't onboard people well, so we had a pretty good chance of running into either people that didn't know what they were doing or people that
Mm-hmm.
did and didn't want anybody's bullshit if they didn't know what they were doing.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, a lot of people jump, quitting games and all that kind of stuff. So that was a rough way to start the game.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, wish the Remedy all the best
Yeah.
as they work on their next stuff.
Yeah. Also, don't forget if you've got PS Plus and you haven't played it yet, Alan Wake 2 is free for this month. So if you haven't played that yet, give it a shot. It's absolutely worth it.
Yeah. But yeah, that's gonna do it for the news of the week.
Mm-hmm.
We'll talk about one more thing because it is the 25th anniversary of the PS2.
Mm-hmm.
Um, one of the best consoles of all time,
Yeah.
and probably the most relevant to the industry
Yeah.
that it is right now.
And arguably like one of the most, if not the biggest selling in the industry's history. I think that one moved more units than all of the other consoles that have come before it, including the original PlayStation.
Yeah, it sold over 160 million, I think it was.
Yeah, that's like a third. That's like 160 million. Like that's like a third of the United States population spread out globally.
Yeah, it's basically twice what the PS5 is at right now.
Mm-hmm. And the PS5 is not hurting for numbers either.
Yeah.
But yeah, the PS2, if you want to talk one thing about like a big of an upgrade it was from the original PlayStation, graphics is probably like the first thing you can immediately point to between the two. The PlayStation, anybody who's ever played OG PlayStation games could tell you the great thing about the OG PlayStation was it was the first console where you could play games that were in 3D. The bad thing about the PS1 is it was the first games where you could play games in 3D and they looked like shit. um, Now, they didn't necessarily look like shit at the time because, the technology was still sort of in its infancy. And, just the idea that it was, everything was in 3 dimensions in and of itself was enough of a novelty to sell a title back then. Um, just look at like OG Tekken or the original Soul Blade or Soul. I think the Soul Blade, yeah, Soul Blade, or Soul Edge as it was known in the arcades. Those types of games, and you'll look at them and see like they're blocky and they're very low. There's a lot of they're having to do a lot of stuff to try and simulate life. Look at the original Resident Evil and compare that, where you know they have to rely a lot on those pre-rendered backgrounds, which back in the day, looked really cool. I will not lie, especially when it came to like Final Fantasy VII. Those pre-rendered backgrounds were iconic. Try playing one of those games now on modern televisions. It looks like garbage. And that's mostly because, those games were originally made for CRT televisions. So they could compensate for some stuff that you just can't do in modern, high definition TVs that we use now. Now compare that to like the stuff you could get on PS2. I remember the first time I saw footage from games from PS2. I think it was a football game, I believe. I don't think it was Madden, but it was a football game. And the one thing that absolutely blew my mind when I saw it was that you had these very realistic light reflections off of the helmets. You couldn't do that on the original PlayStation. It just wasn't capable of doing something like that. If there was light at all, it was some really cruddy looking lens flare. But on the PS2, you could reflect light off of a person. You can make them move very lifelike. The animations were not choppy. They looked like very close to like how an actual person moved. Give that to games that also came out for the PS2 that were iconic. Let's stay with Final Fantasy. Final Fantasy X. That game is like iconic for the PS2. Sometimes for good reasons and also for the not so good reasons. But that game was a huge graphical upgrade compared to Final Fantasy IX, which had come before it. What about Kingdom Hearts? Kingdom Hearts first showed up on the PS2. Still one of my favorite games of all time. Managed to very effectively simulate sort of the inside worlds of a bunch of like Disney properties, as well as its own unique environments. This is just stuff off the top of my head. The PS2, I think, is probably the system right around the time when video games actually entered into the mainstream. They weren't just a niche anymore. People were buying them to play, Tony Hawk. They were buying them to play Madden. I don't think we were quite at the point where, Call of Duty had taken off yet.
Yeah, that was the next gen.
Yeah, that was PS3. We were getting there. But you did have games like you had Medal of Honor, you had a bunch of other stuff. The reason that that system had such staying power is, on top of the fact that it had probably one of the best game libraries you could get on the market back then. It was just a really solid system all around. Um, but yeah, that's about all I can think of.
Yeah, it was very much the time where you started seeing games that resemble what we've been getting for the last 25 years.
Mm-hmm.
Modern games, had options that with a lot of subtitles and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Accessibility options, starting to not a ton at this point, but a lot of what you would expect to see.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and, devs at this point were also realizing that we could use this second analog stick on the right
Yep.
to do camera control
Mm-hmm.
versus on the PS1 where it was often for other things.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's a system that also started off pretty well. As much as I remember, people at a certain point were like thinking that the launch lineup was bad, but I think it's in hindsight a really good launch lineup.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you had like Dead or Alive 2. Yeah, I'm looking on here. You had Dynasty Warriors 2, the first one of those, or I might be seeing some Japanese dates, might have been a little bit later on that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there was like, uh, yeah, From Software Evergrace was there at launch. What else? Eternal Ring, another From Software game. They had two games at launch for this. But you had your NHL 2001, Madden 2001. You had Unreal Tournament. You had Time Splitters. You had SSX, Smuggler's Run,
Mm-hmm.
um, Midnight Club Street Racing. You had Summoner, a Volition game. You had Silent Scope. You had Ready to Rumble Round 2. Yeah, Madden 2001. That was a really fun game.
Mm-hmm.
What else here? Uh, yeah, like a Tekken Tag Tournament was another big one. Ridge Racer 5
Mm.
was another big one. And yeah, like a good amount of variety there. And it also had just a great first year, probably the best first year I think of any console.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Going through the end of 2001, you had Gran Turismo 3, which
Mm-hmm.
was supposed to be a launch game at called Gran Turismo 2000, um, but that ended up getting delayed, and they just said, "Well, screw it, we'll build this out into its whole full game."
Mm-hmm.
You had Metal Gear Solid 2.
Yep.
You
That
had
game was controversial for a number of reasons, but nobody would ever say it was a bad game.
yeah, you had the first Onimusha.
Mm-hmm.
You had let's see, there's Oni, a
Mm-hmm.
Bungie game published by Rockstar.
Yeah, that's the one that was like heavily riffed on Ghost in the Shell. Um,
Yeah,
it had a lot, honestly. I think if Bungie ever decided to go back to reusing some of their old franchises, I would perfectly be cool with them going back to Oni. Um, because considering what they tried to do with that game compared to like what um, you know games are capable of now, they absolutely could come back and knock that one out of the park if they tried.
yeah. Let's see, there's Zone of the Enders is also available there. Kage, Shadow King. You got your Monster Rancher 3.
Mm-hmm.
Um, let's see here. I think was it here? Yeah. Resident Evil Code Veronica.
Mm-hmm.
That was another one. Let me see, kind of going through this list here. There's Red Faction, was another
Mm-hmm.
big one. Twisted Metal Black, NBA
Yeah.
Street. You got the first one of those.
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Mosquito came out. Uh, Shadow Hearts.
Yeah.
Um,
Shadow Hearts, and Shadow Hearts Covenant. Now, those are games that, man, that is a franchise that people really need to go back to. like
Yeah,
very badly. Because not only was it like just a really unique type of game, story in general as far as RPGs go, but also like its battle system was something that was very ahead of its time. Um,
yeah,
and like it just hasn't really been repeated since. Um, yeah, those are like cult classics that we absolutely should go back to. And you
yeah,
also mentioned Twisted Metal Black. That game, I remember that game because that was like the point where like it looked like the franchise was finally making a comeback
yeah,
after it had like two, like I think there had been Twisted Metal 3, which had bombed basically, and then I think there was Twisted Metal 4. That one also bombed too. And then they kind of went back to the drawing board and came up with this very, very dark, uh, vehicular combat game that was darker and edgier than all of the games combined up to that point.
yeah. Because yeah, the team that made the first two games left to work on other things, and
Mm-hmm.
they had a different studio working on the third and fourth games,
And they made
and
them
those
way
just
too cartoony.
yeah. And they even made like a kid game too.
Yep. Which was like where you're playing like all the characters in like a RC car form.
Yeah, Small Brawl.
Yeah.
And it's like I get what you're going for here, but it ended up not
Not a
working
bad
out.
idea. It just looks like shit.
Yeah, and so you had like that, and also being one of the early multiplayer games.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so yeah, there's that. Looking more here. You had, let's see, Silent Hill 2 was another
Yep.
big one.
Like I said, that game was a massive success back then, and really blazed a trail when it comes to like the type of themes that you could pursue in video games back then.
Yeah. So you had that. Let's see here. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3 was a big one.
Mm-hmm.
Again, a game that supported the multiplayer stuff, the online multiplayer stuff before that adapter even released. So
Mm-hmm.
they also had Smuggler's Run 2, again when you could put out sequels the following year.
Mm-hmm.
Soul Reaver 2 came out on the PS2. SSX Tricky. What else here? Yeah, Metal Gear Solid 2, Sons of Liberty. We mentioned that already. What else? You got NFL 2K2 because Sega at this point had moved multi-platform, so it supported the PS2 in its first year, which is kind of a ridiculous thing to say. Um, for that, so yeah, let me see. I'm getting this list back in order. Um, yeah, there's the Bouncer. Was it one of the Square Enix tried their hand at like an action game kind of thing that didn't really go all that well.
Mm.
All right, game. Klonoa 2, which is a fantastic 2D platformer.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see, Armored Core 2, yeah, Gran Turismo 3 A Spec, uh, yeah, Crazy Taxi came out on the PS 2 in that first
Mm-hmm.
year. Escape from Monkey Island, that whole weird thing.
Yep.
Yeah, Guitar Man,
Mm-hmm.
but that might have gotten a later release. Yeah, it was 2002 in the US. In Japan, was it 2001? Final Fantasy X
Mm-hmm.
was a big one. Again, a lot of big games in that first year. Hot Shots Golf 3. Let's see, Devil May Cry came out that
Yep.
first year.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna double check this one. Yeah, Jade Cocoon 2. Um, an RPG franchise that featured um, artists from Studio Ghibli working on it, so it had a very Studio Ghibli kind of art style to it,
Mm-hmm.
with a bit of Pokemon flavor in there. Yeah, Dynasty Warriors 3, which is getting a remake for next
Mm.
year. Eco came out that year. Another great game. Grand Theft Auto 3. That one was a
Mm.
huge game for the PS2.
Oh yeah, that was the big one. That was the trailblazer. That was the one that came to rule them all.
Yeah,
um, Absolutely dominated everything else,
yeah,
from the way games were developed going forward to the discourse around gaming to really just about everything.
yeah. Let's see. Half Life came out on the PS2 that year. Had a
Meh.
pretty decent port there.
Yeah.
Um, but not one that was a big release on the PS2.
Mhm.
There's Frequency, which was the first big harmonics game.
Mhm.
That had a lot of promise and kind of got them to where they would make Amplitude a few years later, and then would start working on Guitar Hero and all that.
Mhm.
Um, Baldur's Gate Dark Alliance, kind of making a big Diablo style action RPG for the
Mhm.
consoles. That was really good. The first Jack and Daxter, the precursor legacy,
Mhm.
as kind of Naughty Dog came and made probably the most impressive 3D platformer of that time period.
Yep.
Because it was a game that featured this big world to explore, and it didn't really have any load screens.
Yeah,
Not
which was
even,
like,
not even like Super Mario 64, where you jump through paintings to go to different areas.
yeah.
Um, it did kind of hide the load times because you had like these little tunnel areas to go through
Mhm.
um, on your little hover bike. But other than that, it was all pretty seamless in a way that
Yeah.
was just really impressive for
Yeah.
PS2 game in the first year of that system's life.
Yeah, and keeping, Naughty Dog has more or less been attached at the hip to Sony pretty much since the first Crash game. So, after the huge success that was the Crash series, it was pretty obvious that, they were going to be on the ground floor of the next PlayStation. And they did. And they kind of knocked it out of the park.
Yeah, they got acquired while they were working on Jack and Daxter.
Mm
Kind of took advantage of their technical expertise to make an incredible game.
hmm. Mm
Um,
hmm.
Unfortunately, then they made Jack 2, and that was like the the only the only one of those platformer trilogies that wasn't all three really good games.
Mm hmm.
Because like Jack 2 it's an alright game.
Mm
It has a lot of what you might call pain points to it. Like the driving stuff is really rough
hmm.
and not very fun. The rest of it is pretty good, but they want you to drive a lot.
Mm hmm.
That's kind of where that falls apart. But yeah, that's like a lot of the games that were coming out there. They were all just lots of bangers coming out constantly, and having Konami put out Metal Gear Solid 2 and Silent Hill 2 in one year, Capcom doing Code Veronica and
Mm
Devil May
hmm.
Cry in one year, and you got Final Fantasy 10 and Eco and Jack and Daxter and Gran Turismo 3, and it's like there's so many good games coming out that first year that no other consoles really come close to that many bangers.
Mm hmm.
And they had a pretty good, if you look at like all the releases, like a pretty good mix of Western and Japanese releases in a way that also was not super common at this point,
Mm hmm.
because they had just a ton of publishers working on games for them that uh, had a bunch of those publishers that did not work on the Dreamcast or did
Mm
not do much for the 64 or the GameCube, um,
hmm.
and all that. So yeah, kind of just a really fun system that uh, I still have to this day because I have uh, the small PS2, the DVD sized PS2
Mm
that
hmm.
is literally in a bag in a box here that I may end up pulling out this week to do some streaming
Mm hmm.
from it. But yeah, that's a system that was really special. Had a lot of great games on it. Had all three of the
Mm hmm.
GTA games there that were some of the best party games you could have when you had friends
Mm hmm.
stay over. You just take turns just causing chaos and seeing how much stuff you could do. before getting killed or getting arrested by the cops.
Mm-hmm.
It was like what we had as party games instead of playing stuff like Mario Party.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that was a really special system, and yeah, still has a ton of great games. That's even now you can kind of go back and still find cool games in there
Mm-hmm.
that you probably missed because there was just a ridiculous
So
amount of
many
games
of
that
them.
came out. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like not even talking about things that came out later on. You know, things like
Mm-hmm.
Shadow of the Colossus. You had
Yeah. And
Katamari
Eco. There was
Damacy.
Eco that came out earlier before it.
Yeah, and it's like even new kinds of you know games that have a very indie aesthetic to it, like Katamari Damacy, which
Mm-hmm.
was not Bandai Namco, or probably just Namco at that point. Did
Mm-hmm.
not have much expectations of that, so it was released in very small quantities at 20
And
bucks.
and then it became like the big word of mouth hit of that year, and they had issues keeping it in stock.
Yeah, it was very much like that. Gamers like, have you seen this ridiculous game that's so Japanese? Where you just roll this ball around and collect a bunch of people and crap, and it gets
Mm-hmm.
bigger, and you collect more stuff.
Yeah.
It's like I've never seen anything like this, and
Yeah.
I happened to get a copy there close to launch, and
Mm-hmm.
uh, it was a fantastic game. Like,
No, it's genuinely like a really fun game. That's part of the reason why it had such staying power. Because on top of the weirdness, it had really solid play mechanics underneath it.
yeah, and probably one of the best soundtracks of all time, I would say.
Oh, yes, absolutely. If you love jazz and jazz fusion, you will freaking love the Katamari Damacy soundtrack.
And
Um,
lots of fun, weird music in it.
yeah. Um, and also, it's a really cool game where you can actually learn a lot about Japanese culture from it because every time you pick something up, it basically goes into like your little collection and everything in there, like it'll tell you little snippets about what it is. And if you see something that you aren't familiar with, the game will tell you what it's about.
Yeah, and yeah, it's just a very very fun game, and that's kind of where it got its start.
Hmm.
That's like one of my favorite games on that system.
Yeah. Although I think I got the version I played was on the Xbox 360.
Yeah, that
But
was beautiful Katamari.
oh yeah.
Um, but yeah,
But anyway, yeah, great game, great system. Also, like it was the system where the we saw some important some developers that would become very important later end up becoming like making sort of their 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 debut on that system. For example, Yoko Taro. Most people today know him for the smashing success that was Near Automata. Uh, he actually got his start. Well, I say he got his start. He had done some development for a couple of games before that, but he got like the first major his as a director and designer and everything on the Drakengard series. And the first Drakengard game in particular is known for two things. One, for having kind of sort of boring uh you know sort of Dynasty Warriors esque combat combined with one of the most batshit insane stories you will ever encounter in a video game ever. Um, In fact, the one of the like secret joke ending for Drakengard ends up being the start of what becomes like the overall story arc for Near and Near 2, Near Automata. Um
yeah,
like yeah, like um in fact, Near, let me see. Near was PS3 obviously, but um
yeah,
so yeah, it's like he got his debut there. He would end up, becoming a big deal later on. Um, yeah, a lot of people, it just a lot of firsts with that system. No wonder
yeah,
it had such staying power.
yeah. It's just a system where everybody kind of made games for it,
Yeah.
and you ended up with a lot of. I feel like a lot of franchises started on the PS2,
Mm-hmm.
um, and a bunch of stuff that just you would not have expected. Like this is where Dragon Quest become a big worldwide
Yep.
franchise with Dragon
Yeah.
Quest
Thanks to
8.
with Dragon Quest 8. Um, Pretty sure. In fact, I think that's the first Dragon Quest game that was released over here with the Dragon Quest title. Because up to that point, it had been Dragon Warrior.
Yeah,
Um,
and they managed to smartly kind of put out the demo
mm-hmm.
for Final Fantasy 12 with it.
Yep.
So people are excited for the next Final Fantasy game. Checked out that game and found another fantastic level 5 RPG.
Mm-hmm.
Because that was where level 5 was kind of at their peak
Yep.
of making games. Because they had what all came out? Yeah, Dark Cloud 2, Dragon Quest 8, Rogue
Mm-hmm.
Galaxy.
Yeah.
And they started to get to like making Professor Layton games and
Yep.
Jean d'Arc on the PSP.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of got stuck in Nintendo Land making a bunch of games for their platforms.
Oh yeah. Um, and you also had you mentioned Metal Gear Solid 2. Let me see. I just want to check because I want to make sure I'm not talking out of my ass here. Yeah, Snake Eater. Metal Gear Solid 3 was also on the PS2.
Yeah,
And that game was massive.
yeah,
Like I mean, the Metal Gear Solid 2 did pretty good. Metal Gear Solid 3 basically blew it out of the water.
yeah,
Um, so much so that it had several re-releases, and there was the remake that was being done. Um, and just
yeah. And I'd say this is also the platform where licensed games started being legit.
the Lord of the Rings games in particular, I remember um, really managing to be far better than they had any right to be.
Yeah, and this is where Dragon Ball Z started getting respectable games.
Yeah, games that didn't suck.
Yeah, the Budokai games were
Yeah.
really fun.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of played around with the expansiveness as they got to like 2 and 3, and just said like, what if we just put every character in here?
Yeah, it's like screw it, just throw them all in there. Let's see what
Yeah,
happens. And what happened was gold.
yeah. And I think 3 lets you explore the world in this like
Yep.
big open world mode.
Where you can just fly everywhere.
Yeah. Um, and I forget if this is the one that lets you merge a bunch of people, or if it was the Tenkaichi games.
I think that was Tenkaichi.
Yeah, where it's like, here you can merge a bunch of these people and see the weird ones. Like, what if you merge Krillin and uh Gohan or something, like all that kind of shit. I was like, yeah, I
Mm-hmm.
guess that's a thing somebody could do.
Mm-hmm.
And the internet probably had done that already in fan art.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, you had like the Lord of the Rings games that did really well.
Mm-hmm.
Um, what else? The Lego Star Wars stuff started going big
Mm-hmm.
there. The Simpsons Road Rage was another great game.
Mm-hmm.
Simpsons Road Rage and Hit and Run,
Mm-hmm.
like some of the only good uh, Simpsons games there.
Yeah.
Sports games started becoming real big there. Um,
Mm-hmm.
all that kind of fun stuff that has like 007, Everything or Nothing. I think was the really good one of those.
Mm-hmm.
It was like, what if we made a Sean Connery Bond like new thing
Yeah.
and treated it like it was a big deal? I was
Yeah.
like, yeah, people really like that. There are good Star Wars games there. The
Mm-hmm.
big like the Starfighter games, like some
Yep.
really good like combat games. Um, yeah, it's where like the WWE games started getting really good.
Mm-hmm.
That weren't made by Aki. Um,
Yeah.
Yakuza got its start on the PS2.
Mm-hmm.
Enter the Matrix was a really interesting game because it was made as like um, it works its way into the Matrix Reloaded. Kind of the story wraps into that. It kind of has some
Mm-hmm.
really interesting stuff to it. Um, so yeah, it's a platform that had so many good games. You could uh, just wait until they hit the greatest hits lineup and get just a bunch of cool games for $20
Mm-hmm.
each, and kind of enjoy that. And that's where Guitar Hero started
Mm-hmm.
and made the music genre a big deal for the next 10, 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, a lot of great games. And even still now, we're getting lots of remasters of these games because they are just so many good ones to bring over.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, that's the PS2. 25
Mm-hmm.
years makes you feel real old. This was the first
Mm-hmm.
system that I bought with my own money.
Yeah.
I got a paper route job, so
Mm-hmm.
I did that. Got my PS2 and then quit. I was like, this is all I need. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, and it was probably the first big multimedia system because they had the PS or the DVD drive in it that
Mm-hmm.
was a really good and cheap way to watch DVDs.
Mm-hmm.
Um, which my first DVD was Gone in 60 Seconds, the Nick Cage movie.
Mm-hmm.
Where I started
Yeah.
becoming a big fan of Nick Cage
Mm-hmm.
because that is a ridiculous movie.
Yep.
It was Fast and Furious before Fast and Furious was
Yeah.
ridiculous. But yeah, that is a great platform, and yeah, glad to see a great legacy for the PS2
Mm-hmm.
for obvious reasons, and is probably the best platform console of all time.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, I think it's gonna. Well, we're gonna end the show here on that.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, thank you to Brandon for joining this week.
Always.
We'll be, yeah, we'll have Danra back next week, I
Mm-hmm.
believe, as we are back for November. And yeah, I think we're gonna call it. So yeah, tune in next week. We'll have new games and news to talk about,
Mm-hmm.
as well as if you enjoy the show, for let friends and family know to check us out, and select strangers that are also excited about the PS2 or dreading finding out that it was 25 years ago that that thing came out.
The darkness is closing in, and there's nothing we can do to stop it.
Yeah. So yeah, thank you all for tuning in. I hope you have a good week ahead. We'll see you all next time. Have a good one.
Bye.